Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we'll be talking about this very large winter storm that is bringing severe weather, flooding rain, tornadoes, heavy snow, and this thing will continue to track across the United States into the coming days. It is a quick mover, so really by the next 24 to 48 hours, this thing will be predominantly over. However, the impacts will be obviously pretty significant. For today's video, and this is kind of because I'm running out of time as well, I won't be talking about the southwest and the northwest, not only because there isn't that much to talk about, but because there is most of the activity with this snowstorm occurring across the north central, southeast, and northeastern United States, along with southeastern Canada. So if you live across the northwest, southwest, today I will not be talking about your regions. However, let's get started talking about this thing. I want to show you this on the radar, and it is definitely looking impressive. Again, as I was saying, you can see the classic comma shape here behind this system. A lot of that snow, even some snow getting awfully close to Dallas. I don't know if it actually will convert over into snow for these areas, but the northwestern suburbs are probably seeing some snow, like Denton, Frisco, Prosper, maybe Louisville, seeing a little bit of snow, but again, the radar may not be too accurate, so we'll have to wait and see. But Wichita Falls, Oklahoma City, and of course, as I mentioned, very heavy rainfall. I mean, prolific amounts. If you look at this rainfall kind of line of heavy, strong storms, but predominantly very heavy rain. Look at this passing through Woodville, right? I mean, you're under prolific rainfall rates for around an hour by the time this thing completely passes through. So really quite a bit of flooding concerns with this such a sort of system. And yeah, this thing's all just chugging towards the north. If you look at the National Weather Service storm prediction website, here is the risk for that severe weather. And you can see that that is for tomorrow. They did have earlier across Texas, except now that threat is obviously over. Let's start off with, again, the north central United States, and then I'll move on to the south central United States. Again, skip to your region using the scroll bar or going to the description box below. We have the latest HER model that is literally an hour old, so this is the freshest data. Notice that what this model shows is that by, say, 11, 12, there could be snow already spreading into Kansas City. There is some light rain most likely occurring right now, but honestly, it's probably having a little bit of trouble reaching the ground, as it's actually pretty dry here, and even if it is, it's mainly rain. So really snow by midnight for Kansas City. St. Louis maybe a bit earlier, but again, it could be a little bit of rain as well at the beginning. Notice once this thing starts moving towards the north, it gets there very quickly. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. into Illinois, northern Indiana, Ohio, Indianapolis. I'm still snowing across, again, Kansas into southeastern Iowa, beginning to snow. Notice this thing spreads pretty far towards the north into Illinois, Michigan. Widespread snowfall rates of about an inch an hour near where that rainfall is converting into snow, potentially up to half an inch further into Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. So for cities like Chicago, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Dubuque, Iowa, this won't be a massive event, but it still will produce a few inches, especially for Chicago and Milwaukee. But central Illinois picking up a decent bit. Obviously, Indianapolis. For you folks across central Indiana, and even southern Indiana, you'll start off with the thud of very heavy snow, probably 2 to 4 inches within a matter of hours. Then a little bit of a break. You could see maybe some rain, sleet mixing in, and then especially for Indianapolis, we see that second wave moving in. Then at around 8 a.m. with more snow. And again, how exactly north or south the system moves, we'll have to wait and see where those highest amounts end up falling. But yes, a rather incredible event we're going to be having going on here. Probably the biggest snowstorm of the year thus far for these areas. Maybe even the biggest, by the time we get over with winters, as this winter isn't looking too snowy for these areas. But notice Ohio getting in on that snowfall, especially northern central Ohio by 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Detroit, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. into Michigan, still snowing, ending across Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana by 11 a.m. So again, good thing is this thing's quick moving, and you can see that behind it there is some snow shower activity and some cooler air. But yeah, predominantly this thing moves out of here very quickly, and by Thursday this thing's done. Total snowfall, though, you can see quite a bit of snow, especially across Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio. That swath of, it's a pretty narrow swath of potentially 6 to 12 inches. But up to even the Wisconsin border, there could be 2 to 4 or 5 inches. And you can see Kansas City 1 to 2, maybe 3. Detroit right in that swath of potentially 9 inches, so that would be a lot. Obviously, notice Ohio picking up quite a bit, Pennsylvania, and obviously in Indiana and Michigan, where the lake effect would be higher. So definitely a decent event. And again, you can see that the official snowfall forecast from the National Weather Service, which comes out every single hour on this website, which is called weathermodels.com. It's a paid service, so it's not for free, but it's something that I think is very worth it. And you can see this is their official snowfall forecast for the National Weather Service. And again, they're targeting Indiana here with a lot of snow into Ohio, Michigan, but elsewhere also decent amounts of snow. Further up north, not too much. We will have a little disturbance moving in through there, and it's actually going there right now, and then a clipper on Friday, so that's something also noteworthy to note of, as that's going to have some very cold air behind it, and going to start a new spell of systems coming in from the west. Let's move on to the south central United States. This is another area that is obviously going to be impacted by this pretty heavily. It has been impacted. Do note, again, a lot of Texas is already done with this. There actually have been quite a bit of snowfall accumulations that have exceeded expectations. You can see 9-10 inches here in some areas. Pine Top, Arizona, higher elevated areas got up to a foot of snow, obviously. Oklahoma City, as of 3 p.m. was around 1 inch, so you could assume it's a lot higher now. You could see 4 o'clock was 5 inches, so probably in some areas 4 to 5 inches, maybe even 6 inches at this point. And again, very heavy snow occurring across Arkansas. This will continue to spread towards the north and east here. So looking at the radar, obviously this is what the current scenario looks like for the south central United States. Very heavy snow for a good portion of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. This thing will continue converting into essentially an all snowfall event. Notice there's quite a bit of this green precipitation up here. It's not really reaching the ground, but it just goes to show you that temperatures are marginal. So that's another thing. If you do see 12 inches of snow, it will be heavy, wet snow, and that's something you won't want to, you want to take your time shoveling that. So a few more hours at least for your guys here across the south central United States of the snowfall. Further south, extremely prolific amounts of rainfall, and of course the severe weather. Notice tornadoes are pretty high. If you live in Louisiana, especially western Louisiana, Texas, you guys are done with the severe weather, but wind hail will continue into Louisiana, southern Alabama, and Mississippi. If I time this out, notice that into the overnight hours, essentially by 9 p.m., this thing's approaching New Orleans, hitting New Orleans by around 10, 11. Still snowing across Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, beginning to move out of Texas. You could see by midnight that line of storms pretty intense still through southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and into the panhandle of Florida. And you can see the low pressure itself passes right over Memphis there to Kentucky, southern Indiana. Again, maybe a little bit of snow at first, say Paducah, and then followed by some rain, maybe a little bit of snow on the backside. And you can see St. Louis getting out of that snowfall again by probably 9 a.m. But all this rain for Alabama, Mississippi, you guys are done by 6, 7, 8 a.m. So if you're going to sleep now, waking up at 8 a.m., you might not even see the storm across Alabama and Mississippi. It's a pretty quick moving one, but hopefully don't get waken up by some nasty storms, which probably is inevitable, as you can see that they're going to be pretty expansive, nice swath of rain, especially here. There's going to be some flooding concerns, and as you saw on the radar, this thing is healthy in terms of that rainfall. It's falling very, very heavily. Honestly, very prolific. Impressed by this, to be completely honest with you. And total snowfall, obviously, for you guys will also be pretty significant. You can see targeting, especially southeastern Missouri here, pretty heavily. You guys just have started getting in on this snowfall, so you guys are definitely under the gun for this. Poplar Bluff, you can see right there, potentially, an area that could see up to a foot of snow. This would be very heavy, wet snow. Let's move on to the northeastern United States. This is another area that we'll be getting into this a little bit further away for you guys still. The system is still relatively far away, but again, how quick it's moving is kind of an indicator of how quickly we'll get there. Do notice we do have bands of precipitation streaming, and if you will, kind of spearheading into Pennsylvania, especially northern Pennsylvania, southern New York by really early morning, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Do note, though, that into southern New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, it will be a little bit longer of a wait for that snowfall. as that main system takes a while to get there. But notice again, northern Ohio, much of Pennsylvania starts off with a good thud of snow. State College, or maybe even New York City picking up a little bit of snow. We'll have to see. Probably not. Just north of you guys though, and then you can see that rain comes in, and this is where this thing kind of starts producing some pretty nasty thunder showers, maybe thunderstorms across areas that just saw snow earlier on in the morning, tomorrow and afternoon. Toronto, southeastern Canada, all the large cities, Quebec, Montreal, Ottawa, you guys will be seeing mainly snow out of this, maybe a little bit of mixing, but you can see this thing really starts pumping up more and more moisture as it hits, say, around New York City. So a lot of rain for the coastal areas, but you can see incredible snowfall rates potentially across New Hampshire, Maine, into southeastern Canada there. Again, because of how strong this thing is and it's moving towards the north, some of this will be, again, starting off as snow, converting into rain. But behind this, rain or cool air will move in, so any water or whatnot will freeze over, causing a little bit of a flash freeze concern. Do note the total snowfall also pretty extensive, especially for southeastern Canada where it stays as snow the whole time. But notice even in Pennsylvania, southern New York, where you just see a few hours of snow before it starts raining, you guys could still pick up 4 or 5 inches of snowfall, which is quite profound. And notice northern Maine and into Nova Scotia right here, also quite a bit of snow, especially where it stays snow the whole time. Let's move on to the southeastern United States. Actually, no, first off, I want to show the Northeast folks their official snowfall forecast by the National Weather Service. Doesn't include Canada. It's not my choice. It's the National Weather Service. It only forecasts for the U.S. Notice so Pennsylvania, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts picking up a little bit less, but especially, again, in inner parts of New England picking up the most snow here. But, even cities like Pittsburgh could be getting 3 to 6 inches. So don't get caught off guard by that. That snow will be falling heavily, and it won't all melt away by that rain. This cold air comes in pretty quickly behind that, so it'll leave a hard layer of snow. Let's move on to the southeast, another area that is definitely something we will have to be on the lookout for. Some snow, obviously, depending on where you classify as being the southeast. Kentucky, Tennessee, mainly rain and a heavy rain for you guys there, but that's the main concern with this. Heavy rain further north, but further south, Florida, the Panhandle of Florida, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, it's the severe weather. It will start petering out towards the morning hours of severe weather. Still, there will be some nasty storms as it spills into Georgia and Florida. More of a heavy rain, embedded thunderstorm type activity into the Carolinas and Virginia. You can see it starts slowing down though, so definitely some heavier rain amounts could occur. Noticeable thing is that we see a lot of cold air sweeping behind this, so there could be, again, a little bit of water and whatnot that stays behind will freeze over pretty quickly, and you can see some snow shower activities into Kentucky, Tennessee on the day into early Thursday. So by the time this thing's all said and done, no really snow for you guys here, but let's show you this. You can see quite a bit of rainfall, especially where this thing may start slowing down again across the Carolinas. There could be some embedded amounts of 2 to 3, 4 inches, which is definitely something you'll have to watch for, even if it is dry or normal. That amount of rainfall is always a potential for flooding. Now, you can see this is what the whole entire United States looks like. I want to show you the future real quickly here with the GFS. Again, as I was saying yesterday, it looks active. Right behind that, we have a fierce clipper that moves in through the northern United States. Some showers, snow showers, snow squalls into Friday and Saturday. Not much, but it does set up a baroclinic zone for this little system right here on the weekend that could produce a lot more snow into potentially northern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. We'll have to wait and see an exact track of that. And then another one moves in. Apologize. I do notice that there's a lot of cold air behind this, so we see another system. Again, maybe not incredibly powerful by itself, but we get a few of these, and you quickly see some of these snowfall amounts adding up. And notice some potentially very, very cold air according to the GFS here. This would be something that I really would not want to see, but it's unfortunately definitely a possibility. And you can see some of those temperature anomalies would be excruciatingly high. Do note that there will be moderation as we head into February. I wouldn't say it's probably going to be a massive heat wave or anything like that. You can see another system comes in. It's not terribly too far towards or to the north. Snow could still occur across areas that are pretty far down towards the south. And again, February is still usually a pretty snowy month. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya.